passive perk could be defined as a perk that would always give you its active effect, even if it was not equipped in your special loadout. In my opinion, I think passive perks would be a huge quality of life improvements for all Fallout 76 players, and I also think the game would just play much more smoothly with passive perks. Now, this video was inspired by a Reddit post, and there's a link down in the description below, as usual. However, if you decide to follow that link, the post has actually been removed, and I have no clue why. In my opinion, the post looked perfectly fine to me. But the post reads this: anyone else thinks certain perks should be just passive. So I'm mainly talking about perks for lockpicking and hacking. I don't know how many more, but just a select few that could just be passive if you own the card. Still have to buy the perk with a level or get it in a pack card. And also, just to state, it should really only be certain perks and limited so the character isn't super OP. And to be honest, like I said, I think passive perks would be a huge quality of life improvement for Fallout 76, and it would also help the game play a lot more smoothly, and I'm sorry to repeat myself. And I'll talk about that topic more in just a second, but really quickly, let's just kind of define what perks should be passive and what perks should not be passive. So the perks that I think should not be passive would be any perk to do with meds, dealing damage, or affecting combat in any way, shape, or form. For example, when it comes to damage, obviously things like Rifleman should not be passive. When it comes to things like First Aid and Pharmacist, those should obviously not be passive as well, as they would affect combat. Also, stuff like Sneak and Robotics Expert would not be passive either, because those also affect combat. And I would give you a complete list of perks that I think shouldn't be active, but we would be here all day. Now let's talk about what perks I think should be passive. Perks that I think should be passive are mainly ones that have to do with crafting, hacking, or lockpicking. For example, Hacker I think should be a passive perk, as well as something like Scrapper and/or Chemist. These perks don't affect combat in any way, shape, or form, but if the perk doesn't affect combat, I don't see why it shouldn't be passive. In my opinion, I think it would help the game play a lot more smoothly. For example, I think we can all agree it gets very tiresome having to constantly switch perks anytime you want to lockpick something and/or hack something. And it especially sucks when you're trying to craft stuff as well. And switching your perks could also be something very time consuming, and if they were passive perks in the game, it would essentially eliminate the time consuming process of having to switch your perks. That way your perk cards could strictly be focused on the build you're going for. Now keep in mind, I understand the special loadout machine is on the way, where you could easily switch between builds, but then again, I want my special loadout machine to be just that. Focus specifically on builds, rather than having to mess with things like Lockpick, Hacker, Scrapper, and Chemist anytime I want to hack or craft something. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think Fallout 76 should have passive perks? Do you think it would play the game more smoothly? Anyways, I love all of you. I hope to see you back here next time. But until then, remember to stay awesome.